We have a very special guest in studio today, my friend and CPA, the great and powerful John Ems. Welcome to the show.
Welcome,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, we've been talking about getting you on here for a while.
For a
And
long while.
I know, and I'm happy we finally made it happen. So,
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to be here.
yeah,
Right before things get nuts for you.
Yeah.
yeah. I was gonna say
Right in the middle.
yeah,
okay.
right in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's
So,
right.
I mean, obviously, we don't need to go in and explain, to the listeners what an accountant does, even though I don't exactly know everything that you do. We did, yeah. But anyway, you're a CPA, and it's the most kind of rule-based job ever. What's the difference between people who win financially and the people who stay stuck, from what you've seen?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of the things is obviously working with not only a good CPA, but a team of people who can actually help and advise you. The old phrase, it takes a village. You're not alone here in this world, nor are you alone in your business or in your financial realm. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of studying, a lot of research to get good at tax law, to get good at investing, and to actually know how to do a lot of these things. So why not use the help of an expert in every realm? We at my firm, we say that we're business advisors, but we just happen to be in the business of accounting. And so if we don't know the answer, if we can't give you that answer directly, we can at least help and point you to the resource that can.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, and that's an ever-changing business too. I mean, it's every year there's some new laws and things being put into place. What are some things that have changed recently?
Absolutely. So right now we have the big one that just passed was the OBBB, or the OB3 Act, as we call it. So there's a ton of different changes in there. Some of the big ones, maybe a little more niche. The state and local tax deduction went up to $40,000 from $10,000, as some of you guys may know. With the passing of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, the state and local taxes, it was a little bit of give and take back then. So there were a lot of gives, but one of the takes was the state and local income tax deduction being capped at $10,000, which affects a lot of the higher income tax payers there. And that's now going up to $40,000 if you make less than $500,000 a year. Another one is bonus depreciation. So if you're buying cars, make sure they're over 6,000 pounds and you can write the whole thing off in a year. A few other big ones that we deal with a lot of our higher net worth clients was the estate exemption. A lot of people, when they hear estate, they think of probate and going through all of that. What they don't know is that there is a $30 million gift limit now currently. It was set to sunset back to about $5 million at the end of 2025 if there wasn't a bill or an extension put in place. So a lot of our higher net worth taxpayers were worried they were going to have to proverbially give away the farm here just to save some money on estate taxes and transfer some ownership down to the next generation. Now they don't have to. There's a lot more wiggle room there. And the last one I'll touch on is the research and development credit. So if you're going through, and it doesn't have to be anything new or groundbreaking, you don't have to make flying cars or some energy output that doesn't have an input or anything. As long as it's new to you, you can actually get a credit for those activities. And it used to be all those expenses that you had to capitalize those and amortize those over a certain period of time. Now you can just write those off and claim that credit.
What about a podcast that does research and development on
Yeah.
being a man and a father, and entrepreneur? Is there
I would say that's not new to you guys.
It could be.
Could be. I mean,
That's right. That's right. The next kid, right?
Yeah. We
that's
just
right.
had another kid. No.
That's right.
Entrepreneurship's always changing. That's always new.
That's right.
That's
That's
never the
right.
same.
Unfortunately, there are certain qualifications and standards put around that to kind of limit who's doing that. So
Thought about how we could offset some of these expenses.
that's exactly right.
Yeah. Well, we have fun doing it.
Yeah.
Can't put a
That's
price
right.
on fun.
No.
That's right. That's right. Well, I don't know. What's a jet ski cost?
Yeah.
It's a write-off.
That's right. That's right.
Buy it into the business. It's
Right.
a write-off.
That's exactly right. We still have some clients trying to figure out how to expense their boats. So
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Well, if they take a client out on the boat, is it?
yeah, or
it's
you put your company logo
Yeah,
on
wrap
it.
it.
Yeah, put
that's
your
exactly
logo on
right.
it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Wrap a Zach and Pat boat.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll
That's
get our boat,
exactly
buddy.
right. Wrap your house,
A
man.
bus.
Yeah.
Put it all over.
It's house. Yeah. Write the whole thing off.
Yeah. Siding's a good business to get into, right?
Get a bus.
Yeah.
Wrap the bus.
Yeah.
Sprinter van.
Yeah, a mobile podcast studio.
That's right.
We can show you afterwards. There's a big ass bus in the back. It's what we took when we went and saw Zach's last fight. Oh, it's all decked out on the inside. It's great.
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, well,
turn it into a mobile podcast studio.
I think that's over 6,000 pounds too.
Oh, easily. Yeah, for sure. Definitely over.
They tend to
600.
be,
Yeah.
Maybe not the one I rode on at school, but
No, it is an old school bus, but they like decked out the inside. It's got like
it's got a shower.
It's got a shower, built-in kegs, like keg taps.
Kitchenette with couches.
Sounds awesome.
That was a ton of fun.
Yeah, we had a good
I'm
time.
gonna have to reach out to whoever owns that bus here soon.
We're having them on the podcast soon. Yeah.
Next week?
Is it next week?
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Well, and you guys will hopefully be going again in May.
Heck
'Cause
yeah.
I just kind of accepted another match here in town. So on the next card.
Nice.
The Battle of the Podcast.
Yeah, Battle of the Podcasters.
That's
so
right.
Me and my friend Arian Zeki, he also does a podcast.
Shout out to Easy Talk.
Yeah, shout out to Easy Talk. So yeah, Adam reached out to both of us today and asked if we wanted to match up on the next card. So we're about the same size, and he was a professional MMA fighter, and
Shit.
but hey, we're doing jiu-jitsu, so he can't punch me. So
Yeah, smart decision to do gi.
yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, why would I not take
Right.
something that's that's clearly I think I will
the-
have
an
the advantage. I mean, I've trained in the gi thousands of hours more than him probably. So it's that's why I did.
So
that.
you're saying there's a skill issue here?
Well, no, I mean, I just don't know how much he's actually trained in the gi in the past. So I mean, I'm sure he probably will in preparation for this, but.
I mean, he does. I mean, he's a wrestling.
He's a very good
coach.
wrestler.
Yeah,
So.
he's a wrestling coach too. So I mean, yeah, his wrestling's gonna be pretty good.
That's an interesting sport.
What?
It's wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I mean, all of those fighting sports.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, dude,
It's fun.
It's so much fun. I mean, it's like wrestling and jiu-jitsu. They're similar. They're very similar, but they're also very different. Like
Yep.
so they're both grappling sports, and like being good at one can't help you being good at the other. But like they're two very different objectives once you hit the ground.
oh, for sure.
Like wrestling, my objective is to get you on your back. Jiu-jitsu, my objective is to submit you,
To crush your windpipe.
crush your windpipe, or break one of your limbs.
That's right.
So it's
right.
it's two different things. But obviously he's familiar with jiu-jitsu. He had I think fucking 7 or 8 pro MMA fights, and then however many amateur fights. So I mean, he's definitely got a lot of experience, and we're friends, and this is going to be obviously I want to win, and it's going to be a good competition. But at the end, I'm sure we'll hug it out and still be buddies, and
Absolutely. Yeah.
we don't have to really beat each other up, which is cool.
We'll have to do round 3 on his show,
Yeah,
or have him on ours.
Yeah, before Pat interviewing us like it's like a pre-fight thing.
You both on
Yeah.
one side. I'm over here.
And in one corner,
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah, man, it'll be fun.
It's
But,
awesome.
I'll let you talk this time.
What?
So-
Oh yeah, yeah. Last time we were on his podcast, it was like him and Pat. It was like a 5-hour podcast.
It was
We,
long.
we sat there for almost 5 hours, and it was probably a good 3 hours of it was just him and Pat going back and forth, and I'm just like watching a ping pong match.
Front row seat to us.
right.
Pretty much saying the exact same thing, but in
Well,
a
and there was a
different
lot
way.
of bourbon involved
Yeah, there
too.
was-
You
there
know,
was a lot.
Sounds like a great conversation to have. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah, it was
It was
great.
fun.
Yeah,
So,
man.
But what does being authentic actually look like for you in a corporate environment where most people filter themselves?
I have no filter, as you'll hear from some of the people that I work with. It's they refer to me as we like to walk up to the edge of the cliff, and I look off and dive headfirst off. So it's just being real with people. Like, here's who I am. Here's what I am. Here's what I can take care of for you. Here's all the things I can do for you. And here's a reasonable expectation of when we can get them done.
Yeah.
And it's, look, I come from a philosophy, and the founder of our firm actually says this. His name's Arnie Honkamp. He's since passed away, but he said, look, if you got a client calling you up with a payroll issue at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night, you go and you take care of it. Same thing on the flip side. If you've got your wife calling you up with some issue that she needs help taking care of at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, you go and you take care of it. And I mean, the current chairman of our board he's a former collegiate basketball athlete at, I think it's Eastern or Western Kentucky. Sorry, Greg, if you're watching this. And he coached all of his kids' basketball teams up through high school. And I mean, we work our asses off, we make up for it. If I'm leaving on a Tuesday at 10 a.m., there's going to be some work on the back end for me to do, but my family's a priority, as are my clients, and taking care of people. So it's one of those things that you have to have. I live my professional life and my personal life by 5 basic characteristics or traits, whatever you want to call it. Compassion, it's Chico is the acronym. Compassion, you have to actually care about other people and you have to care about what you're doing. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Humility, you have to be able to learn and you have to be willing to learn, because you're not, it's kind of that Faustian notion of like you want to learn and you need to get better and you have a pursuit of knowledge and you don't know everything. There's always going to be some CPA who's more technical than you, who may be more personable than you, or may be able to get you that ERTC money or get you some other money that some guy won't. But you have to be humble in that, or take the feedback that your superiors or those who are more technical than you, and learn from that. I is integrity. Integrity is you're doing the right thing for the client. So we have one client that's coming on board here relatively soon, who owns a dispensary, and we do what's called a tax gap review for all of our new and incoming clients. Essentially what that means is we take a look at full picture, full spectrum, cash flow, taxes, financial situation, estate plan, personal financial statement, all of, financial plan, all of that stuff. And we look at it and we're like, okay, does this really make sense? Are all of your goals and objectives lining up with that? And what could we do to make this better? And it's about doing the right thing for the client and what's right. And so this client had written off almost all of their expenses. Well, everybody knows that marijuana is federally illegal, but it's legal in certain states like Missouri. And so there's a section in the IRS code called 280E as an elephant. And that essentially states that if you're going on in an illegal activity federally, whether that's selling marijuana or trafficking arms or humans or something like that, you still have to claim your income from that, but you can only deduct the cost of your goods. And so what we do technically,
they can only deduct cost of goods.
Correct. So they can only deduct the cost of their product for tax purposes. Obviously that bottom line is it has to be pretty tight for you to make money. And so we took a look at their returns, and they were deducting almost all of their overhead and operating expenses. And we were like, this is an extremely aggressive approach. And they came to us initially because they owed several $100,000 in taxes. And they said, please tell us we don't owe this much. And unfortunately we had to go back to them and we said, not only do we think you owe this much, we think you owe more, because this person has been very aggressive. Turns out this other CPA, there's good CPAs and there's bad CPAs, or there's aggressive and conservative, whatever you want to say. This CPA essentially said, okay, what of these costs has touched marijuana, and deducted everything on that. Whereas we would take some sort of allocation approach similar to like a manufacturing company and say, okay, you're buying these goods. Now, are you paying the transport? Okay, we'll put the transport cost in there. And then we said, okay, what you can do is you can check the employee logs and the security logs for when you go back into your vault and actually package this up for customers, and we can deduct that. But you can't, if somebody's out on working the front desk saying, hey, how's it going? Let me check your ID. We can't reasonably deduct that cost, even though you're working in the marijuana industry, in the marijuana field. And so they were very receptive to that. And we're doing what's in the best interest of the client. The next C, the second C, is curiosity. So you have to have, again, kind of going back to that Faustian notion of always in pursuit of knowledge and always looking to better yourself and learn more. And I do that just because I want to help my clients. I don't necessarily need to be the go-to guy, but I want to be able to know who I can go to if my clients come to me for answers. So always trying to learn more and pursuing knowledge. And then the O is for optimism. Always have kind of a glass half full mentality, looking at the bright side of things. That doesn't mean you're white pilled and everything's fine and dandy and all of that stuff, but being able to see the bright side of things and being like, okay, even when you fuck up,
yeah,
frankly, being able to say, okay, yes, here's the mistake. Again, kind of going back to that H, but here's our mistake. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. And then moving forward, here's how we're going to improve it. Here's how we're going to do better next time. And here's what we can do next time to avoid this. And both on our end, on your end, all of that.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I love all those. I mean, every single one of those, pillars is great. Chico. I like that.
Yep. I love the curiosity one. And It reminds me of the Ted Lasso quote. And the only reason I'm thinking about this because I just watched that episode last night was when he was playing darts. I don't know if you remember that one. Have you seen
Oh
it?
yeah, I've seen it all. Yeah.
Where he's playing darts. He's like, none of these people were curious. Because if they were curious, they would have taken the time to ask, "Hey, have you ever played darts?" And my response would have been, "Yes, every Sunday after church with my dad, go to the sports bar and play church or play darts for hours until he passed away when I was 15 years old." And so it just they just weren't curious, and it goes back to everything that you say: always be a tree and
Yeah.
be like a tree, and always be growing and learning and things like that. No, curiosity, and that's one of my core values is being curious as well. So
Absolutely. I mean, it just helps.
Yeah.
And it's the fun part of the job
Right.
too. Because it's not just being curious about, oh, well, what technical aspect of the IRS tax code can I read before bed and try and absorb and all that, all that,
Yeah.
whatever puts me to sleep fastest. It's the, okay, well, what's going on in this? And like, I had a client who, I was talking to just out on one of our client calls. It's a good client of mine. And he said, something along the lines, I just asked the question like, "Hey, how are you and your girlfriend doing? I know that you guys were kind of on the rocks. And I know that she was pregnant. What's going on?" And he said, actually, my girlfriend miscarried 2 months ago after we had broken up, and I had no idea. And there were people who were close to me and family members who were close to me, that knew and refused to tell me. Not only like wouldn't tell him, but refused to tell him. And so he found out eventually through the grapevine that his girlfriend had miscarried and was kind of sad about that. And so what I did was I was like, "I'm so sorry." So I wrote a couple Bible verses down, wrote a sympathy card for him and sent it to him. And it was like, he texted me and he was like, "I have people in my family who refused to tell me. And you, my CPA, just wrote me a thank you card." He's like, I can't tell you how much that means to me."
Yeah.
And it's just out of that curiosity thing of asking. It's out of that curiosity thing that I was just asking, how he was doing and how that situation was, completely unrelated to anything financial, accounting, anything like that. And just caring for who he was as a human being, that now I probably have a client for life.
Yeah, absolutely. I
For
mean,
sure.
and that's one thing. I mean, that's why why I've worked with you for so many years, is because you genuinely care about me. I always say, like, whenever I see you're calling, I'm like, okay, do I have 30 minutes right now? Because it always it never turns in. It's never a quick thing, and I like that though, because like it's anytime you and I talk, it's always at least 20, 30 minutes, and
Yeah.
it's always a conversation that I enjoy. But like if it's a time where I'm walking into something and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna call John back because I know this
Yeah.
is usually a longer conversation. Because it's never just a quick thing, but because you and I you're more than just my CPA. I consider you a friend.
Yeah,
And that's,
absolutely. Likewise.
Yeah,
And it's always, it's how are the wife and kid. I don't
yeah, it's
ever
like
say
almost the
like,
first thing you like rarely, like you always start almost every conversation asking about me or how I'm doing, or maybe something I was struggling with last time we talked a week ago or something. Like you'll like that you ask me like questions about my life long before we get into like the business side of it.
Yep.
And like I love that. It's just like it just shows that you genuinely care about what you do.
Absolutely. And
Care about me.
it's some people don't like that. Some people are just straight to business, which is fine. I can put on that face, but I care about my clients. I care about my people, and I want to make sure that they're, they always say it's lonely at the top, and I'm nowhere near the top. But just by me saying that,
Yeah.
don't get that impression. But, I was always like, well, why does it have to be? Why can't we all be there together? And if I succeed, if you succeed, I want to succeed with you. And if I succeed, I want you there with me. Doesn't have to be lonely up there.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. It's been great having someone that just genuinely cares about me. Like I don't, you're not just there to, get a paycheck or whatever,
No.
it's just, you're there to actually care about my needs. And, and if you know the client better, you're going to be able to service them better.
Yeah. And that's
What's
why
important to them.
that's why I give out my personal cell phone number to most of my clients. It's just like, look, I know that we're in the modern era and you can email me or you can call me. A lot of times if you call me at the office, I'm in meetings or I'm helping my staff or my interns or something like that. And then if you text me, you can text me at 6:30. And the benefit of that is I don't usually have my computer on, so I can't bill you.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's a more personal and intimate way of like, hey, I just got this notice, or I'm having this payroll issue, or I'm having this tax issue. Can you look into it for me? Yeah, I got you when I get back to the office. Or it's like, oh yeah, here's what that is. It's send it to your payroll company or send it to this person. And then it'll be taken care of.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've sent you a picture of something I received in the mail. Like, hey, I just got this. What is it? You know?
That's exactly. And that's, I mean, I've done that to you too. Hey, your home warranty is about to expire. Hey, is this legit? Did I have a home warranty? No, just throw it away. They're going to steal your information.
Yeah, exactly. Same shit. Yeah, but it's just nice.
I've already postmarked it. Should I like tear off the stamp? Like, what do I do here?
Yeah, it's just nice. You can, I just never feel bad about reaching out to you at any time of the day. Like, and I do the same thing with my clients. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just a kind of a, 24-hour business basically. I mean, obviously I can't respond to everything immediately, but I usually get back to everybody pretty quickly.
Yeah. And it's that, I think what we're getting at here is taking ownership of what you do and having that accountability.
That, and then if you can't, just let them know, like, hey, doing something right now, but I will get back to you.
Yeah. And I've given that response.
Totally. Yeah.
And one of our partners, I won't name who, but if he sees this, he'll know who he is, said something along the lines of, he was upset at me for taking time off during Christmas because I let all my staff go too. And so he said, well, you need to work XYZ the day after Christmas because we need somebody to cover the phones. And I was like, that's me. I'll do it. I'll cover the phones. And nobody called the day after Christmas.
Shocker.
And right. And it's like, we're in a market and we're at a time now where it's like, okay, people respect that time. And unless I specifically promise something, hey, I'm doing this the day after Christmas, I wasn't planning on working, but I covered the phones that whole day. And I was like, look, if somebody calls me on the day after Christmas and needs something that's an emergency, I can take care of it. But if it's a non-emergency, it's not important, and I don't get back to them and they fire me because of that, I don't know that I want them as a client.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the selective of a word. I don't just take on anybody who's like, yeah, I've done that. I've taken on doctors and people who are extremely demanding, who have texted me literally every day since they got their stuff and was like, hey, what's the status of this? When am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? And we get it out by the deadline and they're like, oh, well, this was a horrible experience. I'm going back to my other CPA. It's like, good. I don't need that. All the stress in my life or I'm going to sue you because I'm only billed $400 and you billed me $450. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want to work with those people.
No, I don't blame you.
No, I don't blame you either. I mean, I'm the same way with my business. Like, people can be demanding. And I mean, that's kind of with the part about working with, you can kind of choose who you work with.
Yeah.
And, they've got to be pretty extreme before I'd want to drop them. But I mean, I have the freedom to not work with somebody if I don't want to.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I wish I had that freedom. I can't control who gets referred over to me. So, that's all right. That's the fun part about it.
I've got a bunch of great clients I can refer you. They're not going to be clients after this year, but I'm sure you'll work out great with them.
Perfect. Well, I mean, you said something and I'm just curious if you guys still you feel like if this is true, because I've kind of seen a shift where you just said where it's lonely at the top. At least on my side of the business and where I'm at on the mortgage side, I've seen a lot of top producers out there now, and saying that we've seen pop up more and more frequently is collaborate, competitive at the bottom and collaborate at the top. And, I think honestly, I think it's becoming less lonely at the top now, especially more people are willing, and maybe it's just the generation now. I mean, that old school generation, the boomers were at the top for the longest time, and now you're starting to see a change, and you got that, what is it, Gen Z, Gen X, which
we're Gen Y, so Gen X
what's
is
right before millennials?
Gen X.
Okay, so now you've got the Gen X that are coming in top, and Gens and the millennials as well. And I feel like it's more of a collaborative effort now than you are
much more so
what we've seen in the past. I mean, I know with my company, it's like they've got coaching that all of our top producers are the coaches.
Yeah,
and they want they push you to take this so you can collaborate with those people and learn from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's been a huge shift and change. But yeah, I mean, just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah,
on your side of it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a generational thing because my parents are boomers, and I was raised where my dad told me, your employer doesn't give a shit about who you are or what you've got going on in your family life. You go in, they hired you to do a job, and you're going to do that job, or they're not going to want you, and they're not going to want to employ you. They don't want to pay you. And while that's true to a degree that they hired you to do a job, our firm definitely understands that there's a person behind that. Kind of the reason that they allow you to leave on a Tuesday to take care of a family issue at home, because they know that things aren't aren't well at home, things aren't going to go well in the workplace. You're going to be distracted. You're not going to be efficient. You're not going to be productive. And the mentorship, like you said, in a firm structure like a CPA firm where it's essentially a partnership or some sort of corporate structure where there's several partners that come together to form a business of accounting. It's really in their interest to mentor and groom the next generation who are going to come and replace them. Number one, because if they don't, then they're not going to get paid. The business is just going to go under. But then two, there's a succession of clients as well. There's a succession of relationships. And I've seen countless number of businesses where they transition to the next generation and they haven't taken ownership. They haven't taken responsibility or accountability or anything like that. And the business just goes under, or, there's shitty contracts that are entered into that are just losing money right off the top. It's actually funny. We talked about that at my church. I go to Pathfinder Church, Lutheran Church in Ellisville. We actually talked about that this Sunday, a lot of the mentorship and leadership, and about how Jesus, like in Luke chapter 9 and 10, actually sent the disciples out and was just like, I grant you some power of the Holy Spirit to go and cast out demons. Now go and do it. Like if you guys were like, got granted the power from the Almighty to go out and cast out demons, I'd be like, awesome. Thanks. How do I do that?
Yeah,
what do I do?
Give me, is there a manual? Is there a manual?
I go to, like, I'm in counseling, I'm in mentorship programs and all that stuff. And I'm like, given these abstract concepts of, you got to do all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, but on a practical level, like, do I put my left foot in front of my right, or like, what, how do I go out and do this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's that actually look like? And so it's weird to be put in that situation where it's now you're in an abstract role, being groomed for leadership or more of a leadership, but also having to bring up people to replace you. And it's an interesting concept of like, of mentoring the next generation. And it's weird too, kind of getting back to the generational thing, that the people care about money still. Everything's so expensive now, and inflation, especially after COVID, was so high. People do care about money, but it's like what I do for my staff. Like we play video games together a couple times a week. I take them out to lunch at least once a week, with a partner or with somebody else in leadership. And we just like get to know them as human beings and engage them and actually fulfill them on some level more so than a paycheck could. So it's a weird experience there. Then they always say that eating out is the cheapest fringe benefit. It's going to be cheaper than insurance, cheaper than pay raises and all that stuff. So it's cool.
Well, and it also just kind of helps with the culture of the office too.
Absolutely.
Makes people, the culture is going to be way better if you're friends with people you work with.
Yep.
If you generally care about them and you just more of a collaborative environment versus, you were here just to do our job and go home.
That's exactly right.
It's so important to have that. Just that friendship,
right.
Yeah.
I'm excited to want to be there.
Yeah. Right. And it's fun to come to work. We have such a good culture in our office where it's like me and two of the shareholders can go in an office and they'll come into me and they'll be like, hey, you look really nice today. You're dressed well. And I'm like, are you okay? Is something wrong? Like, did I piss you off somehow? Because if it's like, oh man, there goes Ems off the cliff again and just diving head first. Like, did you forget to wear your helmet today? Like, come on. Like, here we go. You're real special, Ems. At least as far as the state of Missouri defines you. It's like, oh, thanks. I love you too.
Well, and in how, somewhat recently you've gotten into more like of a leadership role in the office, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
How's that been, like, managing people?
Yeah. It's so like I said, I'm a practical person, and it's much more abstract of like setting priorities and mentoring staff who need to develop technically, but also develop their client relationship habits, their follow-up habits. It's like starting from scratch and having these things where we always say, like, look, you can come out, if you come out of college with a good attitude and some semblance of accounting knowledge, I'll teach you what I want you to know. But like actually being there and doing it in the day-to-day is really weird. You see a lot of different learning styles. You see a lot of different things from different people. Some people you can just show them what to do and send them out and go do it, and they'll do it and they'll do it well. And some people need a little more hand holding. And then getting into leadership, there's a lot more of that like back office business stuff that you have to monitor. How much are you realizing from clients? How much are you billing them? How are you maintaining the relationship? How often are you meeting with them? Are they satisfied? Are your staff satisfied? If they're not, what are you doing to increase engagement? So it's a lot of we call it the hardest role in the accounting world because you're really learning to be a partner while still being like a senior staff. So it's a lot of juggling, but I've got great mentors and I've got good people above me who have done it before and done it for a long time, have been very successful in their careers. So I'm
And it's got to be kind of
learning every day.
rewarding too to also, like take some, guy straight out of college and actually, man, he's a year in, he's killing it. He's doing really good in here.
Dude,
He's figuring this thing out.
we have a 20-year-old in our office that's a full-time staff. He's been a full-time staff for about 9 months now, and he's just killing it.
That's
He's
awesome.
20 years old and like graduated college already, did like dual enrollment in high school. So he graduated with like 2-3 years of experience in college, or 2-3 years of credit hours. Did his accounting degree in 2 years, and is just like rocket science smart. Like he's
That's awesome.
crazy. We got another staff guy who's pretty sharp too. He's very well equipped. He needs a little more of that assurance and the I hesitate to call it hand holding because he's very capable, but it's the reassurance that like, okay, here's what I want you to do. If you go out and you do something and you have a question, come to me with the question, but come to me with what you think the answer is too. And I'm never going to be like, dude, are you kidding me? No, that's not the answer.
Idiot.
Yeah. Right. Right. It's going to be like, I can see why you thought that, but that's not the right answer. Or, yep, that's exactly right. And affirming them and what their stance. That's what I needed early on in my career, was just somebody to be like, I had a ton of questions and would go and ask my managers of like, hey, am I thinking about this right? Or, hey, what do I do with this? How do I tie this out? And just to have that assurance and have somebody, I try and much more the carrot than the stick with my staff, and just try and incent them and support them in any way I can. And, I mean, there's a little bit of ass chewing that goes on as there is everywhere, but much more the carrot than the stick, I've found helps out a lot more.
See, and I wish there was more of that on our side, like on our business and our industry, because I don't get that when you become a real estate agent. I know.
Just figure it out, dude.
Yeah, I didn't have. I
I
was.
mean, I guess I
was-
kind of had that with Alex. Alex definitely like held my hand.
That's what I was going to say.
Through my first, 20. I mean, really that first year, but I mean, really after about 15 deals or so in, like I felt like I kind of had the hang of it. But 15 deals that's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Like that's.
And I won't speak to numbers, but I've worked with several real estate agents in the past, and you are like far and away one of the most successful agents. And I think that speaks to the mentorship that you had, because I see a lot of people who are like, I'm going to get my real estate license. This shit is easy. I'm just going to go out and sell houses. All I have to do is walk in and show them, be like, boom, here's the house.
Yeah, boom, here's
and it's like
$10,000 check.
They're still struggling to make six figures. And it's like, yeah. And I don't mean six figures like net after tax, all of that stuff. I mean,
GCI.
gross.
Yeah.
Gross commissions. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely tough. Same thing on mine. I mean, we're W-2 employees, but you get in, and if you're not brought in on part of a team, I mean, I was very fortunate that my mom did this for as long as she did, and that I came into a team, that I had somebody, and I was in an office too where everyone wanted to mentor me.
Yeah.
Everybody, because like here's the thing is now they all want to turn their books of business over to me.
Yep.
Like that's the thing, is just like that's what I mean, that's the greatest thing for me.
Yeah.
Just to, is with how tough this market is like, all right, now, let's go and absorb other people's businesses that are wanting to get out.
Yep.
Versus trying to sit here and I mean, it's hard establishing relationships with agents. I mean, it took us 5 years to get going on 6 years with where we're at now. And, and it was up until really we started the podcast that, we were still, we were friends, but we've gotten so much closer over the last 2 years. But I mean, that's the thing, is like, it's hard in these days.
Yeah.
Time to, it's hard to spend 5-6 years building a relationship and not going anywhere. But if you can do that with, ask somebody to be a mentor.
Yep.
Like, hey, can you mentor me? Can you and just ask, teach me what you know. I want to know what you know. You're obviously really good at what you do. So teach me.
Yep.
Show me how you do this. I want to see how you do this and take the bits and pieces that work for me and plug it into what I know. And then I'm going to go to my other mentor. Yeah, well, learn what works for you and then make the best version of myself. But like a lot of people don't have that. And it's just like, ask. If you're coming out of college and you're getting a job, find a mentor.
Yeah.
Greatest thing you could do for yourself is finding a mentor.
Or even outside of college too.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, in life, look
Yeah,
at
in
your,
life.
look at your church, look
Yeah.
at rich people around you, look at family members, look at all of that stuff. I didn't have that early on in my career. And it was much more of a figure it out yourself kind of thing for 5.5 years. And then I go to a firm that I was able to get at least some mentorship, and I grew exponentially from where I was. And then my firm got acquired by another firm. And now there's a whole host of mentors and people that I can look to. And now we have, I mean, I talk to one of my mentors every day that I'm in the office. And then a lot of times on weekends too, just coordinating, getting on the same page, kind of being like, okay, here's what you're doing. And it's worked out to both of our success since we're on the same team and in the same office. You know, it's worked out for him because he can mentor me to be what he wants me to be and act in support of him. And he can also mentor me to come up and replace him whenever he's ready to retire or ready to step into a new role at the firm. I mean, it's cool.
Sure. And it all kind of, the whole mentorship thing, it just kind of got me thinking of, you know, the whole humility piece that you said earlier. I mean, it's all about being humble, especially like when you're new. You don't know shit, you know, like if I would have came to Alex, you know, when I first got into real estate, like, I know how to do this. I just went to real estate school. I got my license. I know how. You told me I need to talk to him this way. I need to say that. No, it's like, no, I did exactly the way I watched him do it numerous times. And I was like, okay, so when he's in this situation, he says this. Oh, this is what this means. You know, it's like you're constantly asking questions and constantly growing, but it's all about being humble, man. I think humility is such a like underrated like skill, or I don't even know if you call it a skill, but like
It's just keeping your ego in check.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
totally.
Does Alex watch this show? Alex, come back to the land of the free, brother.
Yeah. He's been on. Yeah, he came in town actually. His
His
water bottle's still over in the corner. So he's got to come back.
I keep telling him, just let me know when you're in town. And he was like, hey, I was just in town. I was like, thanks. I appreciate it, guy.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know.
What was that about? Was that May of last year?
Something like
yeah,
that.
it was.
Yeah, it was like
It's
May.
been almost a year.
That's crazy that it's been that far.
It's crazy.
Alex,
yeah.
get your ass back in town.
Yeah, we need
I
to
saw
get
you were
back in.
skating. Let's go play some hockey.
Yeah. Two big ass boys on skates.
That's
Jesus
right.
Christ. You guys are like
Couldn't
7
imagine
feet tall
seeing
on
his ass
skates.
on skates.
As
he
long
makes
as I'm
you look
behind the
small.
glass, I'm good.
I'll stay over here. I don't get hit by you guys.
That's right.
That's why there's weight classes in jiu-jitsu.
That's right.
Even better, yeah, get in jiu-jitsu. I need somebody big that
Yeah.
I can roll with.
roll around with. Yeah. Well, to kind of change gears a little bit, John, you got 4 kids, man.
I got 4 kids.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's
man.
right.
What's the hardest part of being a dad that nobody tells you?
Consistency. It's being consistent and discipline and stuff like that, because you have this little ball of energy, of love, of all of these emotions. And because when they're little and when they're young, before even when they hit puberty, I have one kid going through puberty right now, and just being consistent in your approach, being
Boy or girl?
boy.
Do you have
Go
all
on.
boys or?
I have 3 boys and a girl.
Okay.
In that order. So, it's just consistency, consistency and discipline and in accountability, but also consistency and grace and love and kindness and compassion. It's hard. It's frustrating because for us, it's just like, why don't you get it? It's simple. It's you do it this way and you don't walk on the edge of the banister and you don't get hurt. Like, obviously, like, hey, if you hit your head against the wall enough times, it's going to hurt. It's like, why doesn't that register for you? And it's, it's just like they keep doing it, but I think that's the hardest part, because I adore my kids. I love my kids so much. And it's hard to discipline them and to show them that sometimes there are consequences for your actions, and you can't just we call it being naughty. You can't just be naughty all the time and get whatever you want, because then that leads to entitlement and being spoiled and all of that stuff. So if, when I have something to leave behind, I want my kids to be gracious and be, oh, thanks for working your ass off and giving us this to be left behind, rather than, well, yeah, finally I get my piece of the prodigal son thing of, I want my piece of the pie now. So, so I think that's the hardest part of it. It's
consistency in general is
Right.
just like it's everything, no matter what you're doing, whether you're pursuing a career as an accountant, whether you're getting a real estate, like the only way you're going to be successful at anything is if you're consistently showing up, doing the things that you need to do.
Yep.
I mean, like consistency, I feel like that's just a theme that we, are constantly talking about on the show, because it's just so important. Like it really is.
itself is a discipline,
Yeah.
being consistent.
I mean,
Like
most people can't do it.
yeah.
Like, I mean, whether it's going to the gym or going, sticking to a diet or, hey, I want to learn how to play the guitar. I want to, do whatever. It's a
I
discipline.
want to
thing.
roll around on the floor with dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I want to show up here every day and get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
It's a consistency thing. Like it took me a long time to show up at jiu-jitsu before I started having success. But, after a few years, I figured it out a little bit
Yep.
more than I did before. I
Yep.
still get my ass kicked regularly, but I'm consistently showing up still.
Yep. And that being consistent and showing yourself grace of like, oh my gosh, I did this one thing. I'm going to ruin them for life. They're going to have trauma. Of course the kids are going to have trauma. No parent's perfect. No parent does it all right. Every kid, for my 18th birthday, I've been considering getting each of my kids a counseling session. It's just like, you can go talk about dad now. It's, and all the shit I did wrong. But just giving yourself grace of tomorrow you're going to do better than today, or tomorrow you're going to do the same as today because you did well enough that your kids love you and are going to be better off for it.
I think the one thing that our generation does better than the past is apologize for when we mess up, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, I know I do it frequently. I mean, I know, like you said, we're not perfect, and I know that I fuck up all the time when it comes to that, but like, I make sure that I'm apologizing when I do fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey guys, you know what? I'm sorry I overreacted there. I shouldn't have acted that way. I'm going to do better next time. But I just want you to know that like, that's on me. That's not on you.
Yeah.
And like the reaction that you get from it's like, it's great. Like
yeah,
your kid, like kids are learning a lot in that moment.
Yeah. And I feel like I actually had this conversation with my wife a couple months ago as well. I feel like we're the first generation to finally have the space to do it. Because if you think, like the generation before us was probably in Vietnam or dealing with the 70s and the political turmoil there, or the 80s and all of that stuff now, or all of that stuff then rather. The generation before that, we have World War II vets and Korean War vets. And so they have, that was much more the time of like, suck it up, be a man, all of that stuff. Generation before that's probably World War I, Great Depression, all of that stuff. Generation before that, I mean, you're like, you don't have the modern amenities and luxuries you had today. You had to work your farm or work your business, and you had to do it all the time, or you were literally going to die.
Yeah.
And you didn't have the space to do that. So I feel like we not only have the space to do that, but we've also witnessed that history of trauma and of brokenness from our parents, from our grandparents, and all of that stuff, and how it seeps through. And we can recognize like oh shit, like this is something that I did wrong for my kids, and I need to apologize for it and let them know that, hey, especially as fathers, us three,
Right.
we play such an important role in the house. And just to show that not only is it good to be tough and manly and strong at times, because, we want to raise strong kids and strong people and give them a good world to leave behind, but also to show that it's okay and it's actually manly to show compassion.
Absolutely.
And to show humility and to apologize when you're wrong.
Sure. 100%.
It takes a strong person. I had to apologize today. And it was not something that I was looking forward to, but I sucked it up, put my ego aside, and I did it.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that, afterwards, like we had good conversations that came from it, and that probably strengthened the relationships more than had I not.
Absolutely. I remember I had a client that, I mentioned this client previously, but we had a huge, like multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars screw up. Like, and we ended up getting all the money back plus some interest for the client. So it kind of benefited him in a way. So it really helped him out in the long run. But no, it was a huge error, for tax payment where he had already made the payment and we had pushed the payment through on his return anyway. And so that was an extremely hard call to make. And I was just like, look, here's how we screwed up. Here's what we did. Here's what I'm going to do to improve it. And here's what we're going to do to avoid. And he chewed my ass, but he was like, most importantly, I'm appreciative that you alerted me to this and that you owned up to your mistake. And I look forward to correcting it, obviously, but I appreciate that. And same client a year later, we went through multiple iterations of tax projections, and there were a lot of moving numbers, and he was just like, what the hell is going on, man? Like I've given you a lot of this information in the past and all of that, and it's kind of a gut check to do that twice, but it was, you're right. I'm sorry. I screwed up. I should have taken better care of all this stuff. Here's what I'm going to do going forward, and here's how we're going to make it better. And then this year we had an extremely successful year with the client, so much so that he was like, great, no comment, no review notes. You guys considered everything that I would have considered. We even helped him kind of like make some considerations. And he was like, shit, I thought I was the only one who thought about my business this way. But just going that extra mile on top of it after your screw ups and making sure that it's made right. You know, everybody's human. Everybody makes mistakes, even in the professional world, even in the, you know, in your personal world, everybody makes mistakes. Apologies are necessary. And sometimes it takes,
but meaning it and owning it. And then it's one thing to apologize, but the shit keeps happening. Are you really sorry?
Right.
You know, so you got to put action behind those apologies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the real repentance. It's turning away from your mistakes and actually working to improve it and improve yourself and making sure it doesn't happen again.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this whole topic, you know, I send out a weekly newsletter, and you know, one of the things that the very first thing is I write 3 quotes, or if I find 3 quotes that I like, and this week it just sparked this. I was like, oh, I said this kind of in the newsletter. Or this made me think of it, but Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, said we suffer more in our imagination than in reality.
Yeah.
And like anytime I have to, you know, make an apology or have a difficult conversation, I know I always work it up like worst case scenario in my head. And then it always turns out whenever I actually do have the conversation or make the apology, it always goes a lot smoother or easier than I have it go in my head.
Yep.
You know, like, I don't know if that's something you guys experience, but I
yeah.
always just think it's going to be so much worse. Like they're going to react, they're going to hate me, they're going to, you know, badmouth, you know, whatever it is. I always think the world's going to fall whenever I have this conversation.
Yep.
Then I have it. I'm like, oh my God, I feel so much better. That went really well.
I have that all the time when I'm sending out bills or when I'm sending out like tax payments for extension time. Like if I get out ahead of it, like I imagine the conversation, and all of the times I've imagined the conversation and haven't had it, it's gone much worse than when I imagine the conversation and have had it. Like one example is like I gave this client gave us their books because, you know, clients can always do it better than the CPA. And they, there was some issue on the books where things weren't tying out. It was messed up. So I had to spend several hours correcting it. And now we have this huge work in progress that's out there. And my company, you know, we had to build something for it. We couldn't just eat all of this time. And so I prepped the bill, and right before it went out, I called the client and I was like, hey, just to let you know, your bill's getting sent out. It's going to be a lot higher than you're used to paying. Here's why. There was an issue with this. I had to work on it. We had to, you know, kind of rework it out and iron everything out. But I just wanted to let you know what that was for. And they were like, great. How can I improve in the future? And the same thing, you know, it's the tax payments. It's like, crap, I told this guy that he was going to owe $10,000 less in tax than I thought he was. And I call him up. Hey, here's your extension payment. You're going to owe 10 grand. Okay. Is that it? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And you know, in your head, you're like, oh
in my head, I'm like, why would I owe this much tax? Like, you guys aren't doing your job right, blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
okay, you pay this bill, you know?
Right.
Yeah. See, I had to get past that with like cold calling, like with real estate agents. I'm like, oh, they're just going to sit there and they're going to yell at me. Why am I calling? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, that's not how.
No, it's not really
that's
how
not,
it's
that's not how it's really going to go.
Yeah. It's cold calling for me. It's not too hard because I have no shame. Yeah. But I remember I cold called. It was kind of a warm lead, but it was this guy who owns a very reputable, very well-known business in St. Louis. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to call and I'm going to get this client. And I'm sitting with my mentor in the office, and I'm like, hey, is so-and-so there? No, he's not. He doesn't usually work at this office. Oh, okay. Well, I can take a message for you. Oh yeah. His ex-wife told me to call and, you know, said he needs some help with his books and some tax help. So if you wouldn't mind just passing my information along and having him give me a call. And then a couple weeks went by and my boss is like, wonder why he hasn't called you back. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if somebody told me my ex-wife told them to call me and tell them to call him for accounting help, I'd be like, who the hell is this guy? And why is he talking to my ex-wife? Yeah. You know, it's like, so it's like, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, probably not the best way to introduce that. Lesson learned there. But
I'm going to rethink this one next time I introduce myself.
That's right. Hey, I'm John, and your ex-wife told me to call you. So call me back. That's right.
Call me back. That's funny. Yeah. Well, what's one normal? I mean, you've been in the accounting industry for a decade plus at this point. Like, what's one normal thing you see people do with money that you think is just insane?
Spend it to avoid taxes. That's a big one. A lot of people at the end of the year buy things that it's like, okay, well, if I can invest $10,000, I'll save $3,000 in taxes, right? And it's like, well, yeah, but do you need to spend that $10,000? It might, we're entering the dry season here. It might be worthwhile to save some of that cash flow and, maybe save some of that money for tax and stuff like that. No, it's all good. It's all, that's one of the crazy things I see. Another one is, dump money into stuff that they don't need. It's, really, really the thing that irks me the most is seeing people do things that they're being advised of that aren't in their best interest. Not targeted at any certain individual or anything like that. Um, but, really not understanding their business and just not, really being a business owner. And I'm sure you guys can both speak to this. It's really, there's times where you work for your business and there's times where you work on your business. And a lot of people get caught up just working for their business and don't have time to work on their business. And it's really evident because, frankly, to us, the numbers reflect that. It's like, dude, you have way too much cash here or not enough cash here. How are you going to do that? One of the potential clients that we're going to get now, it's like, okay, you're running a $10 million business and your working capital. Like if you cashed out all your receivables, all of the money that people owe you and used your cash and then paid down all your payables, all your taxes, your sales taxes, your payroll taxes, your accounts payable, all that stuff, you have 10 grand in the bank. Like, how do you expect to run a $10 million business off of this? Off of 10 grand? That just doesn't make sense.
Right.
I have a list of things, over investing in inventory, not paying their accountant's bills. That's one thing that's huge that I can't understand why people don't do that. So there's a lot of things that it's one of those things that working with a good advisor and kind of having somebody they don't have to work in your business. They can work alongside you like a CPA, like a financial advisor, like somebody who knows enough about business in general, that mentorship thing that can help guide you and be, in my Bible studies, I say it's like your Overwatch. You want somebody in 30,000 feet up and say like, oh, there's an IED ahead. There's a pothole ahead. Oh, watch out. The guardrail's missing. You want to take this turn a little slower so that you don't fly off the cliff kind of thing.
Well, what belief about money did you grow up with that you later realized you had to unlearn?
That money was happiness, that having a lot of money would make you happy. And I've heard, I think Daniel Tosh had the joke of like, oh yeah, well, they say money can't buy happiness, but I've never seen an unhappy person on a jet ski, something like that. But I learned in college actually from one of my mentors, who was actually being mentored by somebody very successful in business. And he was like, look, if you're unhappy at $500 a month, you're going to be unhappy with $50,000 a month, because happiness isn't money and it's not the dollar figure in your bank or anything like that. Happiness comes from outside of money. And that was life-changing for me. Cause I was like, okay, he's kind of right. Cause I've been in feast or famine times. I've been in debt and I've had a surplus of cash. And it's like, my happiness has always been found outside of that. And I always tell my wife and kids and family, it's like, look, we started our family renting a house, not being able to afford it, putting mom through college, having mom work 2 jobs and dad work 1, and renting an apartment that every time we would come back from vacation, my wife would literally cry in the car for at least an hour because she hated where we lived. And it was like, our joy is not found in money. I know you guys want to go out and eat Taco Bell every night for some reason. Or you want to go out and do all these things and buy all of this stuff, but happiness is found outside of that. Or maybe not happiness, but true joy. Because people can go up and down. They can be happy and sad, but that joy of having that general contentedness in life comes from other things, comes from your faith, comes from being thankful, comes from being humble, all sorts of different things, from family, from friends, from connections. It's not about money.
I mean, money, in my experience, it doesn't buy happiness; it buys convenience.
Yes,
Like
very
I would
much
say
so.
that's, you know, like you said, I'd say somewhere I've had been feast and famine. You know, I've been where I've had, you know, less than 3 digits in my bank account, and I've been in positions where I've had a lot more than that. And you know, but the money has never like made me happy. It's just
You have 3 digits in your bank account? Holy cow, dude!
yeah, I'm
I have
not
I have
trying to
4 kids, man. I don't know that
I'm
luxury.
not now. I'm not saying now. I mean, three.
Yeah.
I said that right? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
No, like 3
I have
digits.
3 digits. It's like the number and then the decimal point and
Yeah.
2 more digits,
Two more
right?
digits,
That's
right,
yeah. I think
yeah.
I think I
That's
have
what I'm
that.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying like it doesn't buy happiness. That's a
No,
great way to
it's-
put it. It just
Do you-
it buys convenience.
Do you think it allows for more freedom though? And isn't
Absolutely.
having freedom allow you to be happy?
To an extent,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but I mean, a great example that I can use, and this, I'll shout out to my wife for this. I won't mention her name. I don't mention my wife or kids on podcasts or anything, just for privacy reasons. But my wife actually, after we had our third son, she said, "Look, Christmas is getting insane. Budgeting hundreds of dollars for our kids, and we're kind of losing the meaning of Christmas in materialism. So why don't we do this? Every year we have 5 gifts plus stockings. So we have something they want, something they need, something to wear, and something to read. And then we have a gift from Santa. And so every year that's what we do. And then we fill their stockings with candy and maybe some other stuff like, oh, well, they needed socks. So we'll put socks in their stocking as well. And then we read the Christmas story every year. We talked about the actual history of Saint Nick and how he was a follower of Christ and how, the legend of Santa actually came to be. We talk about Jesus a lot, and it's, yes, money can buy freedom and can buy experiences and all of this stuff that can make you happy. But I've seen, really, I've seen millionaires and billionaires with really, really messed up kids. And it's when you have all that money and I think there's an option for freedom, but it doesn't necessarily necessitate freedom. Like I see a lot of my clients they make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a year, and they work 6 or 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. That's not freedom, but they have a lot of money.
Right.
Well, is that just bad business? I mean, are they just running a bad business and not having the support people that they have or they need to work it? Or is it just bad planning on their part?
I wouldn't say necessarily either. It's not, I mean, given a business, especially in the service industry that's cash flowing a ton, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad business, but it's kind of a mixture of they can't find good people to come in and actually hustle like they do, because nobody's going to run your business as well. Like Zach, if you hire another real estate agent, are they and you pay them salary plus commission, part of your commissions, are they going to run it as hard as you do?
No.
Are they going to do it as well as you do? I mean, there's nobody who can run your business like you. And that's why I think our role has become more and more important, is because we can take a lot of that back office stuff off of their plate so that they can focus on their business more. And that's actually why I like what I do so much, is because it's not just like okay, here's your taxes, see you next April, or here's your financial statement, see you next month. I'm actually helping design like a competitive compensation package for one of our guys. And we've brought in our marketing team and said, hey, develop a marketing plan for this, or how would you do this? And we've brought in, it's a lot more than numbers. It's like I said, we're business people. We just like to practice accounting, or we just happen to be in the business of practice accounting.
How has AI changed or affected your business?
I hear every year that AI is going to replace accountants, and I frankly don't see it. It certainly makes things more efficient. Like we are experimenting with AI to help facilitate the preparation of our income tax returns. But as far as that, like it's, almost every answer in taxes and in accounting is it depends. And I think AI right now is too black and white to really have that impact or really replace an experienced advisor. And I mean, it's certainly, for me, it's like the next internet. It's like if you search up something on Google now, it's like, okay, I got to wade through 3 pages of sponsored ads just to find some semblance of what answer is. And now it's like you jump on Copilot or Gemini or Grok and you search the answer, and it's, it may have a little bit of a twist or a certain voice to it, but generally it can find the answer and really make it concise more so than like, okay, hey, should I buy this vehicle or not? It's like, well, what kind of vehicle is it? That sounds cool. That's kind of, it's almost like more of one of your friends than really somebody experienced who can actually advise you and take the whole picture into account. But yeah, it's helped our searches and helped improve technical efficiency and kind of helped streamline some of the more mundane processes that we have. But it's,
I like your comparison there to the internet, because I've kind of used the same thing. As I've talked to several people like, no, I don't use AI. I'm not going to use ChatGPT. I'm not going to use any of that stuff. I'm like, well, okay, that's like you saying, people 10 years ago saying like, oh, I'm not going to use email. I'm not going to use cell phone. I'm not going to text. You remember when like people would just say, oh, I don't text.
It's going to give you a brain tumor.
I don't text. I remember people saying that, and it's like, okay.
My dad.
Yeah, but like now, even my grandma texts. It's just like, that's just how people communicate now. And so like, if you're not going to adapt, and everybody's going to be using it. So if you're not using it, you're going to be
you're falling behind.
You're falling behind.
You're really
for
falling
sure.
behind.
It's here. There's nothing we can do about it. It's a tool.
It is a tool. It's a tool. It's not a replacement for anything. We're not to the stage of like, oh, it's going to replace all our jobs, universal basic income, that kind of thing. It's not going to happen. But it is another tool, like you guys said, that can certainly assist in the workplace and hey, I'm feeling tired. Where should I eat?
Right. Yeah. No, I use it like Google. I really, instead of asking Google, like you said, and surfing through, 4 or 5 different pages, it just gives me a concise answer.
Yeah.
We had a cool experience with that when we did our pictures with Santa.
Yeah.
At the very end, we were sitting there, and then all of a sudden these two couples and 10 kids walked in. And I looked at Zach. I'm like, do you know them? And he's like, no, I don't know them. So I went up and I was talking to him. And I'm like, hey, how'd you guys find us? He said, well, actually, we put into ChatGPT and see where we could get pictures with Santa on a Sunday at this time, and your guys were the first thing that popped up, so we came on over.
Yeah,
we're like, boom, sweet.
It's a chat, because we had the thing set up on Eventbrite or whatever, and it pulled from there. And
I like how it pulls the sources too, because a lot of time, like I've searched things and it's come up with like a blatantly incorrect answer. It's like, here's where it is. And it's like, okay, well, if you're pulling from Ask Jeeves or something like that, that's not really the most reputable source. But if it, like, we were doing a training for one of my accounting staff, and it's like, okay, I know there's this one tax rule and this is how we do it, but I don't want to wade through, 6,000 IRS tax codes. So it's like, it pulled it up and made a nice graphic. It was really concise. Yeah. It pulled the direct tax code that I jumped right to it. And it's crazy.
I've done that with guidelines. I mean, shit, the guidebooks and all that, and they're ever changing. So it's just like, hey, Fannie Freddie guides, income question, and put it in there. And next thing you know, it's pulling directly from the guidebook. Here's what Fannie Mae Freddie Mac guidebook says about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great. Good. I mean, what I've used it for a lot recently is like, if a client's looking at a house in a specific neighborhood, or I've got these pieces of land for sale right now, and people want to know like the restrictions. I have the all the HOA indentures, but it's like 50 pages long, and it's super fine text, and I gotta wait, instead of me reading through 50 pages to find the answer, I can just upload the whole PDF to ChatGPT, and we say, okay, what are the what size house can what's the minimum size house that they have to build here, or what are the restrictions on outbuildings? Can they have can they make a barn dominium on the back side of the property? Like little questions like that, and just summarizes it instead of me having to read through 50 pages and decipher, the legal jargon on what it's actually, what you can and can't do. Just gives you a simple, concise answer.
It helps me write emails too. It's like, hey, can I deduct my haircuts? It's instead of me typing out, according to IRS section, no personal expenses, how do I make this concise? And ChatGPT will just say, oh, here's your answer. Here's your email. No, it's like,
no, you can't.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, one thing you've been bringing up in the conversation is your faith.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. How is that a cornerstone of your life and how you're moving through life?
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of soul searching in college, kind of like the existential problem and the existential crisis. I was raised Christian. I was raised Anglican, which a lot of people don't know what that is. I've been asked if that was a type of sheep before. But kind of trying to figure out what I believe and what I don't believe, why I believe what I believe. And basically centered all around Christ. Started, reading the Bible more in college, going to Bible studies. Was always kind of involved in the Christian space in college. We found an excellent church that we go to where we can relate to the preaching, and the church's philosophy is that we're imperfect people in pursuit of a whole life. I've mentioned it's much more fulfilling to live in Christ than without. And I think that's very representative in our culture today, that as we move, not to quote the meme of every day we move further from God, it's as we move further away from God, I think there's more of a general unhappiness in our culture. It's been around for thousands of years and has yet to be disproven or have any real critique that I've found, at least, that is relevant and that can stand against it. I haven't seen archaeological evidence against it. I've actually seen archaeological evidence for it. And it's one of those things that, to quote Voltaire back from the 1400s, I think it was, he said that he wasn't Christian, but he sure as shit hopes his neighbor was, because it's just that moral compass and that innate judgment and governing force that runs your code and your morality. And then looking back at, the foundation of our country and kind of the foundation of all of our morality, not to get too like meta and deep in the weeds about it, but it all stems from Christianity, the moral compass, the moral code, and all that stuff. And how we believe and respect people. I think it's evolved past that, to the point of which where we are moving away from it now, progressing away from it now. But it's been incredibly impactful in my life. It's helped me do a lot of self-reflection. It's helped me develop an actual love for myself, because for the longest time, probably until like 5 or 6 years ago, I hated myself. Frankly, I don't think I've said that too much to too many people, but it's actually helped me to like love myself and have a level of self-respect. So yeah, that's kind of deep there.
No,
But
man, I love it.
That's awesome.
Do you think following Christ has made you more disciplined?
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It made me more disciplined as a parent, made me more disciplined in my profession, kind of helps out that Chico, monogram that I talked about before. It's definitely guided my behavior, my disciplines, all of that stuff.
Yeah, I think I've been on a big spiritual journey over the last, like, I don't know, probably 5 months. So, and yeah, I mean, I've always been real set in like figuring out my core values. And I think it's just kind of emphasized like the core values that I have and I have had, even though I wasn't really, studying and reading the Bible as much, but my core values were still rooted in what the Bible teaches. And
Absolutely.
I think that's the biggest thing for people is to figure out what, find what your core values are and stick to those and really use your life to emphasize those.
Yeah. And furthermore from that, find out why those core values exist.
Right.
What's the basis behind those? What's the meaning behind those, and why do you believe what you believe? Because I feel like there's a lot of people in our culture today that, I believe that ICE are Nazis, or I believe that, that these people are a marginalized group and we need, well, why?
Yeah.
Why do you believe that?
The greatest thing you could do is sit down and continue to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I've gotten back into journaling lately, and basically like every day I'll sit down in the morning and journal. And most of the time when I'm journaling, I just continue to ask myself why. Like, well, what it says, what's like the first question that is what's most important today, and I'll write it out there, and then my following passage afterwards is, well, why is that important? And then continuing to ask myself why until I feel like I'm done writing.
I always thought that journaling was the stupidest thing ever until I did it.
It's incredible.
And then I was like, what, like I can verbalize my thoughts. Why would I do it? And then I would start writing and I'm like, I didn't even know I was thinking this.
Right.
Like it's like such a huge thing of self-reflection. One of the things I used to do that I've not gotten rid of, but kind of put it off, and I need to get better at, is having a gratitude list or Thanksgiving list. Like every day, write down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for. And it totally changes your mentality.
Right.
Totally changes how you think about things. And that promotes that optimism and that nothing in life is given, it's all earned, or even if it is given for that matter, that you're all the more thankful for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
do something. You can go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
just set where you'd probably go on the Enzo train where
Oh no,
No.
I was gonna go with my post-it note.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like at the end of the day, we had a guest on. He's a comedian. He's super funny, but went a little deep with him, and he was telling us, he's like, yeah, what I do is at the end of every day, I go back and write down a journal passage on 3 things that I remember from that day, and then that way I can always go back and read it, and I'll never forget that day.
Yep.
And so he's like, that's the 3 things that I was most thankful for from that day, and hell, it could have been me just changing my kid's diaper. Or whatever. It's just
it could be
whatever.
I'm
Anything.
glad that the sky's blue and not
Right.
red because it's less scary.
Yeah.
It's like, it could be simple things like that, or it could be, I'm grateful that, tell a little personal story. One of the things I remember, it was, December, it was like the 3rd week of December in 2023. One of the biggest days I remember, and what I'm incredibly grateful for is my 3-year-old was 1 month old and he stopped breathing. Just stopped breathing.
Jesus.
And went into the hospital. And I've told this story a lot to people close to me, but my wife rushed him to the hospital, and he was turning blue, had to be resuscitated in the ER. And for days they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And we had a chiropractor come in, and he was like, I know, and I'll shout this chiropractor out, Tom Gargiula, down in Sunset Hills, right? Go take the gravelly exit off of 270 South, go right. It's right at the bottom of the hill at the first stoplight. He's incredible. Helped 2 of my kids actually. But this one, he was like, oh, I know exactly what happened. These doctors ran 30 tests, couldn't figure out what was wrong. And, he said, oh, I know exactly what's wrong. Your son suffered trauma at birth and his spine is resting on his brainstem. That's why his oxygen is sitting in the high 70s. That's why he's not getting better. He's like, and it's Christmas Eve of 2023. And he's like, was it 2022? Sorry, not 2023. He said, just let me come out. I'll take a look at him. If anything, it'll just make him more comfortable. Great. Thanks, Dr. G. Appreciate it. So he comes out Christmas Eve. He's like, just watch the door. The nurses don't really like when people are in touching the patient. So I was like, all right. Adjusts him, and almost immediately, if not within the first 5 minutes, his oxygen's back up to 100. Did not drop below like 98. It just adjusted him. Yeah. Just like put his spine, popped his spine into place. Next couple of days came by. Like, this is Christmas Eve, 2022. Could very well be out with family, could very well be out with friends doing what, getting ready for Santa to come. Next day comes, Christmas Day, comes in, does the same thing. Day after Christmas, does the same thing. He's like, he should be fine now.
What made you think to give him a call?
I didn't even call him. His son's one of my best friends. And it was like, at this point, we had no idea what was going on with my son. And I just texted him. I was like, dude, I know you're a man of faith. Just pray for my son. We have no idea. And he was like, oh, he's always a guy for something. He's always got somebody he knows or something, some way to solve a problem. So he's like, dude, I know just what this is. He's like, I don't know what it is, but my dad does. He's dealt with this 1,000 times if he's dealt with it once. And he sent my dad his number, and his dad reached out to me. So it was a God thing, man. It was a God thing.
Incredible.
That's amazing.
Wow. Incredible. Well,
saved my son's life.
Speaking of kids, if your kids described you in one sentence when they're 30, what would you want that one sentence to be?
My dad was my role model.
Perfect.
That's good.
That's awesome, man.
That's really good. John, this has been awesome having you in here, man. I've really enjoyed this.
It's been fun.
Just great conversation.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Well, before we get you out of here, we do end the show the same way every time. So
play a little game. Call it the tombstone game. You realize, John, what's it say on your tombstone?
He landed at the bottom of the cliff head first.
That's perfect. Well, thanks again, John. This has been awesome. And thanks to everybody at home that watched or listened to this episode. If you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button for us. That would help us out a ton. Pat and I are always constantly trying to grow the show. So, if you enjoyed it or got anything out of this episode, please share it with a friend. Hit that like button, comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.